Program Management Office. Welcome to PAL Technology Speak hosted by Dr. MGR and Sona. I would like now request MC of the day, Mohana Priya from Sona and Harshavardhani from Dr. MGR to following the proceedings. Thank you. Over to you, MCs.
Who's going to start?
Mohana Priya, are you there?
Sir?
You can start.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to host the session. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mohana Priya from Sona College of Technology. It gives us an immense pleasure to start the auspicious occasion virtually by heartily welcoming everybody. Today, PALS Technology Speaks 4 on the topic cloud computing. On behalf of PALS, I welcome our honorable speaker, PALS members, and management members from Dr. NGR Educational and Research Institute, Chennai, and Sona College of Technology, Salem, and our beloved participants.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Hamrita, third year IT from Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, here to be a co-host of this session. Zoom Code of Conduct. Everyone, please stay muted. Please record your attendance in the attendance form, which has been posted in the chat box. If you have not registered for this session, please kindly register with the registration form as well as an attendance form. If you have any question for the presentees or the guest speakers, please use the chat feature in this Zoom webinar.
We would like to invite Mr. Ramasamy, PALS champion, to give insights about PALS.
Good afternoon, distinguished principal and faculty members from colleges, students, and the speaker, Ms. Sabia from IBM, and my colleagues. I'm happy to give a brief on the session. So now we are having the fourth session of the lecture series of PALS, which this year has been cast as Technology Speaks, with the reason that we assume that the basics would be, we leave it to cover in the colleges, but we are inviting experts, domain experts from industry, who can share their specialized knowledge and also the application of the modern day technologies like machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, simulation, cloud, and the like. And these are very essential today to run any industry, and even a core industry depends on these technologies to have efficient operation. So therefore, we expect all streams of engineering to be aware of these technologies so that they can apply them in their domain. And speaking of a few comments on my experience, I am from the core group. See, I'm from Foundry, and then things were always cloudy in Foundry. So the sand, it was very murky. We recorded all the properties, still it was not behaving properly. So also with the metal. And then we were struggling with all the statistical techniques manually, but we really couldn't know what was going wrong. So that's how we were going about our duties. But now cloud computing connects you in a seamless way to a lot of resources, which will help you to understand what is actually happening to your process and to correct your process. So to speak, I understand that cloud today, whether it's a problem with your machine maintenance or whether it's a process control, cloud computing will support us even in the core engineering, and it will help to dispel the clouds. So those are my comments about how I look at today's topic. Now I hand it over back to the MC, and we are all waiting to hear from the horse's mouth. And one more remark will be appropriate. IBM has been our industry partner. They've already done 3 sessions, and every time they bring in more and more resource persons, and they are doing it that this is tailor made, though IBM has their own offerings already. They are specially devoting their time to PALS, and I request the participants to listen carefully and interact and make the best use of this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to call Dr. V. Cirilraj Sir, Additional Registrar, Academics and Administration from Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute to give a few words about the session.
I think Dr. Cirilraj sir is possibly not able to join. We seem to have reached the maximum limit of 500 in Zoom. So we have some technical glitch there, and I think you can proceed with Dr. Akhilandeshwari ma'am from Sona. So give the appropriate introduction and invite her, please. MCs?
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry for the delay. I have some network interruption, so I connected in the another ID.
Okay, can you go
Good
ahead and
afternoon.
give?
Yeah, I would continue. Now we invite Dean Academics, Dr. J. Akhilandeshwari, Professor and Head of IT and A&DS, Sona College of Technology, to share a few words among us.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
Respective dignitaries, the chief guest or the speaker of the session, and my dear faculty members and my dear students, good afternoon. I think we have started this session in the peak lunch hour, but I hope the students are not feeling hungry or had their lunch and sitting here. And Sona College of Technology and PALS, we have been in, we have connected with PALS since 2015. And I have seen the evolution of the PALS. Where they had very few programs, and then they interacted with many colleges, many ECs, and every time they interact with us, they got new ideas from the stakeholders, the faculty members and the students, and they are going on increasing the number of activities to make the faculty members and the students engaging. So this is very important thing, because students and faculty members are the main stakeholders of any educational system. And I must thank and appreciate PALS for doing such a kind of activities to make these two stakeholders current in their field of study. And going about the technology speak, I think this is an important activity, because some students may not have much of an idea of what's going on in the industry, because many of the students prepared by an education institution is only for the industry. So what we think is that they should be given a head start or what is happening in the industry. So I think the technology speaks of various fields is a very important activity. And hearing these words from the speakers, I think the students should get a bird's eye view. And if at all they are interested in that field, I think they should go well deep into that technology and get expertise from that. Because there are lots and lots of learning platforms. Even IBM is providing a free learning platform for all the students. They can certified from IBM for cloud computing, for data science, for machine learning. There are a lot of technologies in IBM itself. I think the students can make use of this opportunity. And about the cloud computing, I think this is one of the most hyped technical jargon since 2015, and because that still it is hyped. Because we all know earlier we used to do computing or store data. Everything is in a server which we maintain in a premises. Nowadays, I don't think the industries or any organization, even our organization, we no longer buy servers. We always move our own institutional data into the cloud. So the cloud has become ubiquitous or pervasive in anything that we do, from small industries till very large business They use cloud for storing their businesses, transactions, for computing, for everything they go for cloud. I said because it is ubiquitous and pervasive is that even we are using cloud as a single individual, even a housewife or a doctor, whatever it's whoever is not into a technology world, they are using cloud. Because as an example, our email box, right? Our email, Gmail or Yahoo Mail or Outlook or whatever it is, we use cloud, right? All the mails, the content of the mails are all stored in the cloud. We retrieve all those data from the cloud. So it has become pervasive. So we never now know whether we are using cloud or is it from the premises. There is no boundary at all. So I hope the speech by Ms. Sabia Parveen, I think that this session would be very, very useful for the students because as I already told you, it's much of the very useful technology in IT industry. And I hope the students will make use of it in a very good way. And I should thank PALS for giving our students meaning all the students of their colleges, this opportunity to know certain important concepts of any technology. And I hope this session will be very useful and I wish everyone a good day. Thank you so much.
I think Cyril Rat sir is back. MC, you can call upon Cyril Rat sir.
Thank you, Dr. Akhilanti Shri ma'am, for the wonderful words.
Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to call Dr. B. Cyril Rat sir, Additional Registrar, Academics and Administration from Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute to give a few words about the session.
Really, I'm happy indeed to participate in this inaugural of the cloud computing topic to our students. Dear students, with the developments which are happening there in the cloud, so the cloud is something like already we are part of the cloud. We cannot live without cloud also. At the same time, no industry cannot thrive without the cloud. So just if you, even if your cell phone and then if your, desktop content are taken totally away from you, so that itself is more than enough to understand how difficult our life will be. At the same time, now data are churned out in terabytes every day. So definitely we need a cloud. At the same time, the cloud need to be properly organized, and then not only pushing the data, but we need to know what is available there. There is information from that cloud data also. So with the rolling out of Industry 4.0 standard as well as with the IP version 6 also, right now the IoT is going to play a very important role where each one of us will be having millions of IP address in our kitty. So obviously that our industry and then even the public sector and then even our own personal life, where we will have the impact of the IoT devices and then the data which are churning from these IoT devices, and then as already told you, collecting the information from there and then deriving a knowledge. These are some of the very, very important paradigm which need to be looked upon. At the same time, right now, the AI and the machine language are directly associated with this cloud also. So without the combination of AI and then machine language, machine learning, all these things put on to the cloud, so definitely we cannot have an effective utilization of the cloud. So I hope all the participants will take these problems very seriously, and then whoever it is, whichever the department you are learning, but at the same time, good knowledge on, working knowledge on any of the cloud database, and then as well at the same time, the manipulation of the data over the cloud. So these are some of the essential qualities and engineering graduate should have, irrespective of the branches also. So please, students, make this opportunity better and then take a right decision of learning this cloud computing nuclear as part of your career. I wish all the participants a grand success. Thanks a lot.
Today we are here to listen to the talk on the topic of cloud computing
Thank you, sir.
by Ms. Sabia Parveen Syed, software architect, who has 14 years of experience in it, currently leading the production enhancements team in IBM Supply Chain Network Business Unit. She has an educational background with Master of Science MS focused on computer software engineering. Without any further delay, I would like to hand over the session, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Ma'am, can I start sharing my screen now?
Yes,
Yes,
you can
you
start share your screen, ma'am. I
Thank
stopped
you.
my screen.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. It's so many students, and it gives me immense pleasure to host this talk, and I hope that I'll be able to cover the topics which are come to gain the understanding. So I will be taking basics of cloud computing. I would like to introduce myself. I'm working in IBM and currently as a software architect, and I live in Bangalore with my family and 2 daughters. So that's a little bit about me. So let's get started. So this is what we will be covering in today's session. Is my screen visible?
Ma'am, you moved to your web page, I think, madam. You are not in your presentation. Okay, you are now in the presentation screen, madam.
Okay. Yeah. Just a minute. Okay. So I have moved to the next slide. Yeah. So this is what we'll be covering in today's session. First, we'll go at the official definition and a brief history when it started. Then what are the essential characteristics which make cloud computing so cool, and what are the benefits of it? We hear about a lot of it. And then the basics, which are the deployment models. So if you're starting with cloud computing, we must know few of the things which are these type of clouds. Next, we'll be moving on to the service model. These are the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, which is SaaS, which I'm sure all of you must have heard. Then we'll be going to how the cloud is adopted in today's industries, and what are the technologies which are driving this change for the cloud adoption. The next part, which is the end of this session after my presentation, so I have just added here, that will be covered by the students. So moving on. Okay, so there is a definition which is provided by the United Nations Institute of Standards and Technology. It defines cloud computing as a model for enabling convenient on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal effort or service provider interaction. So a lot of high-tech words packed in this definition. So let's break it down. I've broken it down into the 3 sections to better understand. It is a model which provides on-demand network access to shared pool of configurable computing resources. So what are those resources? The resources mainly are network, server, storage, and application. And what services the cloud offers, right? So it can be rapidly provisioned with minimal management and with minimal service provider interactions. So once you subscribe to a cloud, the service provider will not be having, to guide you you will be able to do everything by yourself. So it's like a self-service, right? So now we see the example of cloud computing resources, which include network, server, storage, application, and also services. Moving on. So yeah, the car analogy is example which is used industry-wide to understand the cloud computing. You have heard the on-premise, or mostly referred as on-prem, and then on cloud. So what is the difference, right? So on-premise is when you have all your infrastructure, which is your data center, servers, network devices, everything of your own. And then all the applications are run on that. So that is on-premise. And when you don't want to maintain and manage everything of your own, what you can do is you can leverage cloud services. So let's understand it with the help of this taxi model and the owning a car model. So deciding between the cloud and setting up your own IT infrastructure is like deciding whether you want to buy your own car or you want to travel by taxi service. Cloud computing is more like taxi service, and you can order as many as cars you need, get out of the route. That means you have the flexibility, you can change it, and you can also, and you only pay for what you use. So you are taking a ride, so you are only paying for that. You are not paying for any maintenance of the car. That is the cars, taxi providers, service providers, headache. So on the other hand, if you want to purchase a car, right? So it is like on premises. What if you own a car, you will have to, spend considerable amount of running costs for insurance, fuel, taxes, and maintenance. But there are certain advantages also. So if you own a car and if there is a breakdown, you can immediately, fix it. But if you're in taxi service, you will not try to fix it. You will simply hire a next taxi. So, but back to infrastructure, the trend is towards outsourcing the IT services to save the cost for management and maintenance of IT infrastructure. This example we will also be using when we understand the different models, the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. I hope that this has given you a foundation of what cloud computing is versus the on-premise infrastructure. I'll move on to the next slide. Yeah. So let's see, when actually the cloud computing started, it dates back to early 1950s. The practice of time sharing or resource pooling evolved to make more efficient use of computing power via the mainframe systems. Multiple users were able to access the same data storage layer and computing powers from any terminal. I have more detailed information about this. Is in the mainframe systems, they started sharing the unused time slices of computing. So when you're running any application on a system, or not all the resources are fully utilized. Only a part of resources are utilized, and in that time, if you don't have multi-users, that utilization resources remain unutilized. So to solve that problem and make have full resource utilization, companies started to sell time slices of computing resources. This was also the time when computing resources were both scarce and very expensive. During that time, only public internet was not there, and only organization and governments had access to computing resources. So that's when the cloud started. Now, when we read this the definition which was defined by NIST, we saw that it is a model. Now, what does it have? The cloud model has 5 essential characteristics. It has 3 deployment models and 3 services model. So in the session, I am going to go deep into all these 3 sections one by one. First, we are going to look into the 5 essential characteristics of the cloud. Okay, so we'll go into one by one that we studied in the definition also, that on-demand self-service of processing power, storage, networking via simple interface without any human interactions. So all you need is just a web internet access and a web browser. So you can access cloud services from internet, and it's a self-service. You also get broad network access via the network through standard mechanism and platforms such as mobile phone, tablets, laptop, and workstation. Resource pooling, it uses multi-tenant model. Tenants are users, the end users, so there are multi-users. Resources are dynamically assigned and reassigned according to the demand without customers' consent regarding resources' physical location. So multiple users can be using a cloud from multiple different locations across the world at the same point of time. These are the 3 characteristics. Moving on to the next 2 characteristics, the rapid elasticity. You get to access the resources when you need them, and when you don't need them, you can scale them back. So I'll give you an example. Say, during these sale times online sales are going on, right? During the festival season. So at this point of time, the companies will need more processing power. But when the sales are over, so the big billion sales and everything, they don't need that much computing traffics, right? So if they have, they are using any cloud service provider, what they can do is, instead of buying and investing in on-premise for so much computing power, which throughout the year they will not be using and only require for 1 month during this month. So they just pay for extra on this month, and then once the sale is over, their traffic will go back to normal. So they can scale back down, and then you don't have to pay for those many extra resources. So that's how the cloud helps in businesses in current time, where it's not uniform. The needs of customers and organizations are varying. That also helps moves to the next second, the 5th characteristics, which is measured services. So you only pay for what you use. So going by the same example, when they have provisioned more computing resources, so suppose they were running on one single server and they added 2 more servers to meet the demand of online traffic. Now, during only for this peak month, they'll be paying for those extra server. And once they deprovision it, they will not be paying for it. So those are the essential characteristics of cloud. Now we will be looking at the next benefits of cloud. Okay. We have cost benefits, as I explained right now, that users can, instead of buying full capacity just in case there is any growth or surge in traffic. So think about it, if the companies like Flipkart, they are buying those many resources for throughout the year, but they will not be using it, right? They'll be only using it during the sales period. So that much cloud computing power is wasted and it not being used. So that is how cloud makes it cost efficient for the companies and organizations. Cloud computing uses remote resources that are shared with other clients and save on the cost of server, physical equipment, and IT. Users can also save but not owning and running their own data center. Now, in this part of world, we are using those many resources at this point of time. But if you look, the more shopping will start in US during the month of December. So currently they are not using. So if the cloud service provider is global, we are using those resources right now from India. And when we deprovision it, those resources are available to be used by other companies. So that is how it is cost effective for organization and enterprises. What makes us flexible? Cloud infrastructure provides on-demand and scaling based on the needs of each workload. Users can scale back or scale up services to fit their needs, support fluctuation workload, customize application, and access cloud services from anywhere with just an internet connection. Level of control is also determined with as a service option. So we see there are 3 service options which we'll be covering in detail, and many of pre-built tools which can be used for specific needs. Also, there is virtual private cloud and encryption application. All these are the benefits of cloud computing. Continuing the benefits. Okay, yeah. So it is the efficiency which make clouds so widely acceptable across the industries. Cloud-based applications and data are accessible from virtually any internet-connected devices. Companies and employees can collaborate from anywhere in the world. Security in terms of failure is also one of the benefits of cloud. So suppose if you're on-prem, you will be having only one data center at one location. But in the cloud, we can have redundant backups in data centers across different geographic locations. So in case of natural disaster, if one data center is affected, rapidly another data center can be provisioned and there will be no disturbances in the businesses. That also takes care of data backup. So it is secure in that way that it safeguards you from hardware failures. There is also strategic value to cloud. It streamlines work. Cloud services gives enterprise a competitive advantage by providing most innovative technologies available when managing underlying structure. One of the benefits is that you can experiment. So suppose there are emerging technologies and a company wants to invest in that, but they don't know if the solution will work and will be accepted by user. So if you are using an on-prem services and go with that much investment and the solution does not work out, the return of investment is very less or nil. But if you're using a cloud, you can do a trial and error method. This is also called adopt fast and fail fast, and learn from your failures and then reiterate the development. So cloud provides that benefit. You also do not have to worry about the regular updates. Service providers, service provider takes care of all the software updates, and all the softwares and applications in cloud are regularly up to date. Collaboration we have seen is we get access from anywhere in the world. So these are some of the benefits which I wanted to cover in today's session. Moving on. Now, the next part in our cloud model is the deployment models. So we have 3 deployment models. public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. I'm sure everybody must have heard about these deployment models. So a public cloud is cloud services are leveraged over an open internet access on hardware owned by the cloud provider, but its usage is shared by other companies. In case of private cloud, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by single organization. It could run on-premise or can be owned and managed by cloud provider. Then we have hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is a computing environment that connects an organization already existing on-premise private cloud to a third-party public cloud into a single flexible infrastructure for running applications together seamlessly. So think of hybrid cloud as a company has already invested in their infrastructure and they're doing business from many years or decades. So they don't want to move everything to cloud, but they also want to take advantages of the new emerging technologies which their on-premise infrastructure does not support. So they can go for hybrid cloud where they will have their own computing environment from on-prem, which will be connected to the public cloud, which is provided by cloud service provider, and they can make use of the applications which are new and try new deployments for them using the tools and technologies which are not supported by their on-premise. Sometimes the hybrid cloud is also used due to securities. So companies which have compliance, government compliance, they do not want to move to public cloud. So they keep their secure and compliance related workloads within their own on-premise infrastructure, and the workloads which are not strictly monitored, they can be shared by public cloud. So let's go and check into each of the cloud models in depth. So a public cloud does not mean that our users' data is public. In many cases, the access control mechanism through registration are required before the user can manage use of cloud resources. What happens is when you say public cloud, it does not mean that everybody can see everybody else's data. No, the public cloud is the resources are public. So the computing resources, which are shared by multiple users, but the data and their activities are secure. And how this is achieved is by using the access control mechanism. So we have security groups within. You are provided a login to the cloud service provider. Within that, there are security groups which restricts the usage to predefined list of the rules in the security groups. Like I said, the public cloud is in the cloud service provider makes the application and computing resources available to public via the internet. Public cloud is not necessarily free. There are light accounts. So suppose if you want to experiment, you can go and sign up on IBM Cloud also with the light account, which is a free trial version. But when you're using as an enterprise, you will have to register, and then you can either choose from multiple options which will be available depending on the cloud service provider, and you can pay per usage or you can subscribe for monthly and yearly basis. In the public cloud, cloud service provider will be responsible for setting up all the hardware, software, application, and networking resources. Everything will be managed by cloud service provider. We'll see in more deep about the cloud, public cloud. The cloud service provider will maintain all the infrastructure. Anyone can use a public cloud. You can, and the students can also go up and sign on the cloud service providers, and you can get a free, maybe 1 month free trial. Functions vary. So these are the different applications which can be provided by different cloud services providers, and fee arrangements vary. Yeah, like I said, it really depends on which type of subscription you're taking on the cloud. If you want to pay per use and if you want to reserve some resources, suppose you know that at some point of time you're going to have to use that much computing resource, so you can reserve it and take monthly subscriptions. We are going to see more in depth about public cloud. Why do you want to go for the public cloud? We have seen three models: public, private, and hybrid. So when to use a public cloud? It is very low cost amongst all the models, and disaster recovery solution is high availability in this. Expertise is provided. Easy access to public domain such as application, Google Apps, Google Docs, and Gmail. Issue switching, cloud service provider. So yeah, this last point is when you're using one service provider, and if you want to move on to next service provider, not all, the same application may not be supported by both the service provider. So that is one of the disadvantages of using the public cloud, is that you will get locked with one cloud service provider or vendor. We'll move on to the next cloud model, which is the private cloud. A private cloud is infrastructure operated solely for a single organization and hosted either internally or externally. A private cloud can be within a public cloud. So a private cloud is not necessarily always on premise. It can be on a public cloud also, and that is achieved by virtual private cloud. So VPC, you will heard that term also often when people talk about private cloud. Virtual private cloud, which will be a private cloud within a public cloud, and it will be exclusively reserved for that particular organization or enterprise. It provides more control over how you use the cloud services. So it gives self-service interface control services, allowing IT staff to quickly provision, allocate, and deliver on-demand resources. It facilitates highly automated management of resource pools for everything from compute capability to storage, analytics, and middleware. Private cloud also provides sophisticated security and governance designed for a company's specific requirement. Nowadays, we have seen a lot of security and compliance requirements are there. You must have heard about GDPR, which is specific to Europe. So similarly, if a company has to abide by all these compliance and security standards, they can go for a private cloud. What are the essential characteristics of private clouds? It is secure, it is dedicated infrastructure. Users either buy or leases the cloud. So while buying, you can have your own data centers, or you can use it as pay-per-use model. What are some of the use cases of private cloud? When you should go for private cloud? It provides a dedicated and privately secured infrastructure. Your cloud is within a firewall, limited by organization physical hardware and other resources. It can run off-premise by third-party infrastructure provided. Like I said, it can be on-premise and off-premise also. Usually preferred when an enterprise wants to have or even must have the data local in their own data center. Example, due to regulations. So going by the same example, the GDPR, right? GDPR states that a data must reside where the owner of data is. So they have to make sure that if users of the data is in, suppose UK. So the data will not go out of that. So in that case, you can have a private cloud in the same region provided by a cloud service provider. We'll move on to the next model, which is hybrid cloud. So hybrid clouds is a mix of public cloud and private cloud. It requires interportability, visibility, and management. Supports a very flexible performance model. When you're using hybrid cloud, the management overhead is added than using public cloud, because then your IT team will have to manage everything between the two clouds. When we should be using the hybrid cloud, we'll see. Using services of vendors on private clouds costs money. So when we are considering moving some system to an off-premise data center with application offered back as a service, and it also provides heightened securities. So let's spend some more time on the second point. When a company wants to adopt and move to cloud, they may already have some of the applications on their on-premise. So while they are migrating from on-premise to public cloud, they can use a hybrid cloud to continue their work in the private cloud while they're testing it. And then once it's tested and confirm the solution works as expected, they can move to hybrid cloud. So that is also one of the application of hybrid cloud when you should select it. Now, I also want to tell a little bit about multi-cloud, which is not one of the 3 deployment models, but the multi-cloud is when you are using services of more than one cloud service provider. Suppose you are using IBM Cloud and you're also using AWS. It can be 2 or more. So what it gives is multi-cloud can connect one or more public, private, or hybrid cloud to an on-premise system and can network one or more clouds to other. It provides organization more flexibility and advantage of each individual cloud model. So think of that not all cloud service provider will provide all the applications. So suppose if you want to use one application from one service provider, which is not available in other, I'll take a pause. Okay, sorry about that. So you can avoid the vendor lock-in. Suppose if the cloud service provider has immediately hiked the fees and if you're using only one cloud service provider, you will be locked into that. And you will not have, your business depends on that, right? So you cannot readily move or get logged in. So if an organization is using multiple clouds, they can readily switch between one cloud to another cloud vendor. Now, here are some of the numbers why organizations are using. 76% of organizations are using 2 to 15 hybrid cloud. They are using so many cloud service providers, and 98% will be using multiple hybrid clouds in the next 3 years. So more and more organizations are using multiple and hybrid cloud. We'll be looking into the 3 service models of cloud. Infrastructure as a service, which provides access to physical computing resources such as servers, storage, networking, and data center space without need to manage or operate them. Next, we have platform as a service, which provide access to hardware and software tools needed to develop and deploy application to users over the internet. And lastly, we have software as a service. Is a software licensing and delivery model in which software and applications are centrally hosted and licensed on subscription basis. It's also sometimes referred as on-demand software. When you're using adoption to the cloud, you may want to use one of the service model or all three of them. Suppose one company only want to have infrastructure as a service and they want to use their own development and software. So they can only use IaaS on cloud and continue using PaaS and SaaS from their own company department, IT department. So it can be a mix of service model which an enterprise can use, or they can use all three of them, but not necessarily that all of them has to be used at once. We'll look in depth into each service model because these forms essentials for any cloud computing model. What is infrastructure as a service? It provides access to physical computing resources such as servers, storage, networking, and data centers, so it's without needing to operate them. We have processing. Think of the data centers. So you don't even have to have your own data center servers and the management for that. You can simply use IaaS and pay as per the subscription. It has the capabilities of processing, storage, network, and other fundamental computing resources. Consumer is able to deploy and run arbitrary software, which can include operating system and applications. So operating systems is part of platform as a service, and applications are now next, which is the top layer of software as a service. I really like to show a small video which explains infrastructure as a service. Let's hope this to play.
All right, hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel.
Is the video
My name is Bradley. I'm the product manager
audible?
at IBM Cloud. And what I want to talk with you guys about today is
Yes, audible, madam.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
it's a question that we get fairly commonly when folks are starting their cloud journey and starting to learn about cloud. And that's, what is IaaS? I read about cloud, I see this IaaS thing everywhere. What does it actually mean? And so IaaS is an acronym, right? And so it's broken into two parts. The first part, the I, that's infrastructure. And so if you think of cloud as being just some other dude's computer running somewhere else, that's the infrastructure part. And so that infrastructure, if it's not cloud, it could be running in a data center somewhere, it could be running in a closet somewhere. Your laptop or your desktop is infrastructure. And then the AAS piece is as a service, right? That's the billing method. That's the way that you consume it. And there are other kinds of as a service. You've got PaaS, platform as a service. You have SaaS, software as a service. There's lots of different kinds of things that you can consume as a service, but very specifically what we want to talk about is the I, it's the infrastructure. And so I've got this diagram written out over here because infrastructure really falls into three main categories, right? The first category is going to be compute. That's where the processors are. That's where the actual lifting and computing gets done. The second piece, which is storage, kind of falls into three main buckets and lots of smaller buckets on top of it because there's different kinds of storage. And then the third piece, the piece that ties everything together, that's our network piece. And so we're going to draw this one over here because without network, you can't do anything. Network is how the compute talks to the storage, and that's how the compute talks to the other compute. So, like I said, we can break this down into different pieces. And so on the compute side, I've got three things called out up here. The first one is kind of, I've just got it labeled compute. It's general purpose compute, right? This is your normal web server, application server. It can really be whatever general purpose kind of computing needs you have. The second two are, the second and the third really, are more specific, right? So GPU is a graphics processor. That's a very, very high-speed processor that's used in conjunction with a traditional processor for specific kinds of workloads, right? This is going to be your machine learning and your AI. And then the third piece, HPC, and it's high-performance computing. So there's specific kinds of workloads that have very specific requirements as far as frequency, which is your clock speed, and the number of cores that are required, where you have to have lots of power packed into a very, very, very small footprint. That's going to be your HPC. And likewise, on the storage side, you get different kinds of storage because you have different storage needs. The most commonly used one is going to be object storage. Object storage is a little bit lower performance, but it's relatively inexpensive. And that's for your general purpose storage, right? What goes into object storage? Well, you can have things like pictures, you can have documents, you can have really whatever you want can go into that object storage. It's where all of the data and all of the graphics on the web server, that's all hiding in object storage. And then the second and the third piece that I've got called out here, block and file, these are specific kinds of storage, specific kinds of network storage, and they attach in very specific ways. Block storage attaches with iSCSI, file storage attaches with NFS. It's the way that they mount into the actual compute itself. And there are specific kinds of applications that require block storage or file storage because each of them has their own features and benefits. And so to talk about how we pull all of these things together, we need to talk about the network because network has two main components that matter. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think of your network as a pipe, right? And so a network can be a small pipe. That would be like a pipe measured in megabits, so you can't pass much data through it. Or it can be a very large pipe. That very large pipe, that would be measured in gigabits per second. And so the more data you need to push simultaneously, the larger a pipe you need and the more bandwidth you need. The second way that we measure network traffic is how much data gets pushed through this pipe over a set period of time. Normally it's billed by the month, but it could also be billed by the minute, by the second, or maybe even by the day or by the week. And so to take all of this and tie all this together, I want to use an example of something that requires some specialty components, right? We're going to talk a little bit about an AI workload. And so if you think about an AI workload where you're going to do automatic visual recognition of pictures, let's say that you have 1 billion pictures down here in object storage that you are then going to use to train your model that's running on these GPU servers. And so you take that 1 billion pictures, and since 1 billion is a lot, pictures are very large, you have to push them through a really big pipe, that's your network pipe, up into the GPU server. But the GPU server doesn't have any storage inherent to it, so that GPU server is actually going to take and write that into block. And it's going to write that data back and forth and back and forth until the model is done. Once it's trained, it's going to take all of the data that we pushed up here and all of the results, and it's going to write all of that back down into object storage. Why into object storage? Because again, it's less expensive. It's a good archiving solution. And so you're pushing a ton of data through these pipes while they're turned on. And then once you're done, you get rid of them. And so the second piece that I want to talk about is the as a service piece. This is the way that you consume. And so when we talk about as a service, there are kind of 4 things that really, really matter in this model. And the first one is that offerings that are consumed as a service are generally speaking shared. And so by shared, I mean they're multi-tenant. Many people use the same offering. We just take and carve it up and make it available to multiple different customers simultaneously. So that's the first piece of as a service. The second piece is the hourly or monthly piece. This is talking about how we bill. In the case of compute, it could be a certain number of cents or a certain number of dollars per hour or per month. In the case of storage, we would bill out in the amount of data that's stored in a given month. So that would be cents per gigabyte per month. In the case of network, there are 2 different metrics we talked about earlier, right? The size of the pipe, you would pay a per month charge for that. And then the amount of data that goes through it, again, measured in gigabytes per month or cents per gigabytes per month. So that's our billing metric. And the third piece, and this is a very important one, is that there are no contracts involved in an as a service model, or there aren't necessarily contracts. There can certainly be them, but they're generally advantageous to you. By no contracts, we mean that you don't have to agree to use something for a set amount of time. You use it for as long as you need it, and then you get rid of it. And so rather than a check mark for no contracts, I'm just going to put a little X there. You only use it when you need it. It's on demand. And then the last piece, and this is probably the most important, as a service offerings are self-service. That means that you can go out to a website, you punch in your information, your payment details, click the go button, and that as a service offering is going to be provisioned and delivered to you. It's not something that takes days or weeks or months to set up and configure. It's one that can be provided in minutes or hours. Thanks for stopping by today. If you have any questions, please drop us a line below in the comments. If you want to see more videos.
Okay. I hope that video was informative, and me taking a break from constant talking must have regained your concentration on the presentation instead of me monotonously talking all the time. So now next, move on to the next service model, which is the platform as a service. Now we have infrastructure, and next we want to have the operating systems on infrastructure. We need some kind of softwares to access that infrastructure and resources, right? So that's where the platform comes in, and platform as a service. It provides the access to the hardware and software tools which are needed to develop and deploy applications for users over the internet. So also consumer created or acquired applications created using multiple programming languages, libraries, services, tools supported by the provider is deployed onto the cloud infrastructure. What are the characteristics of the platform as a service? It supports runtime, multiple vendors and developers. You get access to all the developer tools like .NET, Java, and some of which are the examples given here. We also have APIs, which are application programming interfaces to integrate with virtual machines and bare metals. Consumers do not have to manage or control the underlying cloud. If you're taking platform as a service, consumers have control over the deployed application and possibly configuration settings for the application hosting the hosting environment. I'll take a pause for a second. Okay, so I would now want to play a very short video on platform as a service, because it gives the talks from the expert, and I'm going to post the links for these videos. They are available on IBM Cloud YouTube channel, and I definitely recommend you go and check some of the cloud fundamentals there. Moving on to the next slide.
Hi, I'm Tessa Rhodes, and I'm a designer on IBM Cloud. And today we're going to talk about platform as a service. It's hard to define platform as a service without talking about its neighbors, infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, and software as a service, or SaaS. So let's start with the foundation here with IaaS. IaaS is a set of compute, networking, and storage resources that have been virtualized by a vendor so that a user can access and configure them any way they want. In design, we have a concept of talking about users called personas. And the persona for IaaS is a system admin or an IT admin. Let's jump up to the top with software as a service. That's the easy one. Software as a service is just software that you don't have to install on your machine and you don't have to manually update. And so the user for software as a service could be anyone. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, then you're a user of software as a service. It's usually charged on a subscription model rather than a one-time license fee. Then that brings us to platform as a service. PaaS takes advantage of all the virtualized resources from IaaS and then just abstracts them away so the user doesn't have to worry about managing any of those virtualized resources. The user for PaaS is not a system admin, usually. It's usually a dev. In IBM, we call this dev Jane. That's the name of our persona. So this whole metaphor, the pyramid metaphor, is meant to indicate that as you move down, you're increasing complexity in terms of your knowledge and management of infrastructure resources, and you're increasing the ease of use. Another metaphor I use when I'm talking to the designers on my team about PaaS is having to do with a car. So in this metaphor, IaaS is like leasing a car. So if you've ever leased a car, you probably did a lot of research and you care about the specs of the car and their performance. You care about the color of the car, what kind of car it is. You're the one driving and you're paying for it. You're also paying for the gas and any tolls or maintenance. With platform as a service in this metaphor, that's more like renting a car. So say you're on vacation and you just got off the airport and you're going to pick up your rental car. You don't really care what color it is. You don't really even care about the specs of it, but you're still driving and you're paying for the gas and any tolls you go through. Software as a service is, again, the easiest one. That one's more like getting a taxi or an Uber. So with a taxi or an Uber, you don't care at all about what kind of car it is, what color it is. And in fact, you're not even the one driving or paying for gas or any tolls because that's baked into the price. So let's think about what that means in terms of cloud computing and what the vendor provides and what the developer, or Jane, provides. So the vendor provides servers, storage, networking, virtualization, middleware, operating system, and the runtime. And all that leaves for the developer to provide is their data and applications. So this is the vendor, cloud vendor. So there are some pros and cons with that, just like with leasing, renting, or getting a taxi. The pros for using platform as a service are, it's generally assumed that it's quite fast and easy to get an app up and running, which is great. It's easy to create and delete the resources, which is important for, say, you're running a proof of concept app for a conference and you want to spin it up right before the conference and then delete it right after. You're not paying for the whole month, and it's easy to spin it up and delete it. Also, so that results in some cost benefits. Another cost benefit of platform as a service is that you don't have to pay for a full-time system or IT admin to run this app. They can focus on something else. And another pro is that a lot of providers of platform as a service have been building out some tools on their platform. So you can use DevOps tools, collaboration tools, and there's a lot of API marketplaces that have been coming out, which is great because you can just take those services and plug them into your app, again, still without having to worry about any of this. There are some cons to using platform as a service. This big one is lack of control, but some people will still say that that is a pro, because although some people like to pull all the levers and push all the buttons having to do with fine-tuning their infrastructure, a lot of people don't want to have to worry about that, nor do they have the understanding or ability to do that. Another con is the vendor lock-in. It's a little bit hard to migrate your app unless you're using an open source framework like Cloud Foundry. It's a little hard to migrate a platform as a service app from one cloud to another. So make sure you trust and like your cloud provider before you choose it. And then finally, the performance at scale can be an issue. Performance at scale. So say Jane, the developer, had a platform as a service proof of concept app from that conference, and then she released it to 10,000 people the next day. It definitely won't have the same in and out performance as if it was running on a dedicated bare metal server, for example. So that's a consideration to have. So I hope that helps you understand the benefits and the reasons for choosing Platform as a Service. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, please drop us a line below. If you want to see more. Hi, I'm Tessa Rhodes.
Okay, so that leaves us to the next and the last layer, which is the software as a service. So software as a service is a software licensing and delivery model in which software and application are centrally hosted and licensed based on subscription basis. Users do not have to pay for software itself. It works like a rental. They have the authorization to use it for a period of time and pay for the software they're using. Software as a service is most widely used. You just need an internet connection in a browser, and then you log into the vendor provided portal, which you can use a software as a service. It provides the unique advantages such as it is reduced time to benefit. It has lower cost, scalability, and integration. Upgrades, you don't have to worry about the upgrades. The service provider takes care of the software upgrades, and it is easy to use and perform proof of concept. So one of the thing about upgrades is when you have an on-premise solution, and if you're running a software on that, during the period of times of like every 1 or 2 years, every software companies will issue upgrades, right? A new version. So in that case, what you have to do is you have to manually upgrade and then monitor if your current application are supporting the upgraded version or not. Or you have also seen there was if there is some attack and you have to put in a patch to the software, cyber attack in case of that. So then also you have to manually update. So that all overhead is not there for the enterprise when they're using software as a service. Everything will be managed by the service provider. I had a video for the SaaS also, but in the interest of time, I am going to post the link in the chat box and recommend that students watch it later. These short videos are very good ways to understand the concepts of these service models. So we will move on to our the next and the last section, which is the cloud adoption and emerging technologies. What is a cloud adoption? Is a strategy which is used by enterprises to improve the scalability of internet-based database capabilities and reducing cost and risk. It is no longer a thing of future. Means cloud adoption is right here. I'm sorry, I just clicked again. Yeah. So it helps quickly provision services without any upfront cost and experiment with low risk to capital as opportunity. Anybody can access the cloud computing they need on the cloud. Cloud makes it possible for businesses to experiment, fail, and learn faster than ever before with low risk exposure. Today, anyone can access the computing capacity needed via the cloud. Let's see some of the models. My presentation mode has been paused to share. I will try again.
Stop sharing it and reshare it again.
Yeah, it's not moving to the next slide. Yeah, let me try that. Is my screen visible now?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. Yeah, so now let's look at the cloud-based business models which are disrupting the legacy cloud legacy organizations. So if you see, these are the examples which we see around us everywhere. So Uber is the largest transportation companies, but they don't own any of their vehicles, much like cloud, right? So Facebook also does not create any content. It's the users. We have Alibaba.com, which is a e-commerce site. They don't have any of their own inventory or warehouses. There are suppliers which are registered on it. So this is like also a cloud model. Another example is Airbnb, which is a hotel, right? Hotel industries, but they don't own any physical hotels, so they do not have any real estates. Skype is a telecom provider, right? But they do not have any telecom infrastructures. So these are the few examples which I've taken from the current industries based on the cloud service providers. Next, we'll try to look into the emerging technologies. Very brief, I'm going to talk about the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, which is AI, and how the IoT and AI are impacting the cloud adoption. What is IoT and Internet of Things? It is the concept of connecting any device so long it has to other internet and to other connected devices. The IoT is a huge, think of IoT as a huge network of connected things and people, all of which collect and share data about the way they are used and about the environment around them. Every one of us are knowingly or unknowingly, we are in contact of IoT devices. We have GPS tracker. Now we have Google Home and Alexa, smart homes. So those are all the devices which are connected. They all form Internet of Things. We use it in everyday life, like driving. When we are driving, we are using GPS. And then when we are purchasing, monitoring personal health, we have smartwatches which monitor all of our health. And then we have home energy, which is not that much used in India, but yeah, Western countries. Next, we'll look at how IoT works. IoT has changed how much we live our daily lives, from the way we drive, how way we cook our food, how we monitor our security in the home, and our personal health, how we monitor our personal health, and also how we travel. We have smart devices such as smartwatches and virtual assistants like Alexa and Google Home, and then sensors which are continuously collecting data and tracking the information about the resources. This is a huge amount of data, which is unprecedented amount of data which is being generated. Think of so many devices which are constantly working and they are constantly connected. They are straining the internet. How cloud helps is in Internet of Things. Cloud helps by connecting the IoT devices users to the cloud. Devices, identity, storing data, accessing enterprise data. When we were watching one of the videos, there were storage types mentioned, the block storage and object storage. So when you have the huge amount of data, it is the object storage which is provided by cloud. You can store all the huge data generated from all the connected devices from Internet of Things in the cloud object storage, which is, then data is continuously connected through IoT devices and is stored and processed on the cloud. Cloud is collection point to closest proximity to devices, minimizing latency. So when you have cloud and the devices, Internet of Things devices are in a various different location, the cloud helps them connect by having the servers to the closest proximity of devices. You may have heard of the edge computing, which is what we are talking about when closest proximities. The edge computing is similar, which happens at where the users and the devices are actually located. This minimizes the latency, means the processing time since the event has been triggered. So that is how the Internet of Things are driving the adoption to the cloud. Cloud service providers also offer specialized IoT services which are designed to help speed up the development of IoT solutions. We see in artificial intelligence now, think of all the data which has been generated by those many Internet of Things devices. How to make sense of that data. This is where the artificial intelligence comes into pictures. Now we have example of smart assistants. Smart assistants is they learn users' performance over the time, and then they provide the details based on the learnings, similar to machine learning. Then we have a symbiotic relationship between cloud, IoT, and AI. So cloud provides the processing powers which are needed. The IoT connected devices generate the amount of data, and they require the data which is then fed to the AI, which makes sense of the huge amount of data and provides the insights required for enterprises. This is both powered by the cloud. The processing power which is needed for that much insights is provided by cloud. Similarly, the processing power which is needed for the IoT is provided by cloud. Artificial intelligence is a field which combines the computer science and robust database in enable problem solving. Now, the application of artificial intelligence, very brief, and then we'll be at the end of our presentations, where the applications where we can apply the artificial intelligence solutions are IoT, which we have seen, AI, which powers the insights provided by the data collected from Internet of Things, and cloud provides the scalability and processing power which is needed for the Internet of Things and AI. With this, we come to the end of cloud computing, and I hope I was able to provide the basics of the cloud computing. We covered the deployment models, 3 deployment models, public, private, and hybrid. We also saw a little bit about multi-clouds and the advantages of all the cloud models. We saw the service models, the IaaS, PaaS, and software as a service, which is SaaS. We gone through the benefits of cloud computing, and in the last very brief sessions, we saw why companies are now adopting to the cloud and using the power of emerging technologies like Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. So that's the end of my presentation, and I'll hand over to Ramaswamy sir.
Thank you. MC can take over.
Okay, how do I stop sharing? Okay.
Okay, thank you, madam. The floor is open for the questions for the participants. Participants can ask their questions in the chat box. Meanwhile, I'll share the screen, madam. These questions are asked from the students while registering. You can see my screen, madam.
Okay.
So some of the questions may have been answered during the course of your presentation, Sabia. I think you may not want to, you may want to skip them.
It's self-explanatory, some of them.
Yeah, what is cloud computing has been extensively been explained over the last 1 hour, I think. So you can pick and choose, decide. Meanwhile, participants, you can post your questions on the chat box. Like, this is one opportunity you will get to interact with the expert from IBM. You don't get this every day. So make use of this opportunity. You can post your questions in the chat box, raise your hand, or, you can, we'll get you unmuted and you can ask your questions too. And the same thing is applicable for the students watching in the YouTube and the live streaming also. Go ahead, Ms. Sabia. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, ma'am. So first question is, covered as explained. The second question, why cloud computing is suddenly seems so hard and expensive. Yeah, so if we go back to the model of car owning and renting a car, right? So renting a car is like cloud service provider, but still you see so many own cars. Not everybody takes a cab. Why is that? Because if you want to use it very, very frequently, you have a lot of computing needs, and if you're using the pay per use model, you will end up paying more than owning a car. So that is why it is expensive, and then that is where the enterprise have to make a conscious decision where they want to use the cloud or they want to use the on-premise solutions. I hope I was able to answer this question. Next question is difference in technical advocate and technical specialist certification. This is in reference to which I would need some more information about this. Is this about IBM cloud certification?
Sorry.
So the third question.
Difference. Yeah, we really do not know what that person is.
Unless that person says, it cannot be explained. So you go after the next.
You can skip that, yeah.
Yes. Is there in real-time application of cloud computing in the field of military? Okay, that's more related to security and compliance. So I would have to go back and check on this one. The cloud computing can be brought even to remote areas as soon as possible. Yes, that's true, right? Because in that session we have covered that we only need internet access and browser, or you can access it from your phone or tablet or computer anywhere. How database and browser product and case study for all kind of that. So yeah, this is the security which is provided by cloud service providers. So it is the responsibility of they use encryption. Different type of encryption mechanism are used by the cloud service provider to keep the data secure. Of course, when you think of public cloud, right, it is accessible to anybody. So the high level of security is maintained in cloud. If you're using your on-premise, right, that is not accessible to everyone. You have a firewall, so your data is more secure. But cloud service providers know that with the advantages of easy accessibility, there is a risk of high data security also. That is why there are advanced security mechanisms which are used for protection of data. Which certification is useful for cloud computing? Yeah, that this is again a tricky question. So it depends on which level you are starting. I will take some of the questions from the chat.
Yeah, there are a few questions from the chat box now.
Can we integrate cloud computing procedure in Web3 like ORM for additional security purpose? What is EOR? The first question, I need more information of that. How much security provided to store the data from cloud computing? Is it okay? Okay, so this seems like an interesting question, and it should benefit all of them. What are the prerequisite to become a very beginner of cloud engineer in industry? So there are certifications and courses available on IBM Cloud Training site also. The very beginning, the basic level of certification is the Cloud Advocate. So if anybody wants to go and explore the opportunities in cloud and learn more about it, I recommend that they go ahead and take the training and certification to become a cloud engineer in the industry. Let me post the links of the IBM Cloud Training where you can go ahead and take. I will post after the session. Maybe sir can share with the students his software. Is blockchain run on cloud? Yeah. So that's a good question. Yeah. I covered because of the time limitation that only IoT and AI, yes, but the blockchain is also run on the cloud. It leverages the services which are provided by the cloud. What is the impact of cloud computing in modern world? We have seen it and we see it every day. And this has been covered in the session. What is the benefit of cloud computing, ma'am? I guess we have covered that in the session. Okay, the next question is why and what may be the reasons for companies to move certain application and workloads back to the private cloud? Any example? The best example which I can give is because of the security and compliances. Region specific securities are there, and if you're using, suppose in the healthcare industry, there is a HIPAA compliance which protects the patient data, health data security. So in that case, the enterprises will not want to use the public cloud. They want a secure way. That is where they will be moving to the private cloud. Okay. Okay, what is the main drawback of cloud computing, ma'am? Yeah, one of the risks with the cloud computing is again security. Yeah, even though there are high level of security, encryptions are provided, but since it is open to public, it is susceptible to attacks. So security is one of the disadvantages of the cloud computing. Okay. Data breaching attempts in the cloud can be referred as a cloud cyber attack. Even I will have to check on this one.
So on the certification, you're going to share us that link, right?
Yes. So let me just try it out.
No, you can do this even after the session. We will share anyway the feedback and quiz links and everything. So we can share it along with that. So Deepak Rishi and somebody else had asked a question on certification. I think you'll just have to wait for an answer. She's going to give you the links.
Okay, so I am going to post it in the a link for, this is specific to IBM because I am from IBM. So I have the resources and cloud details from IBM Cloud. Yeah, I have posted in the, so in the, if you go to this training material in IBM Cloud, you have all the levels. So first level is IBM Cloud Advocate, which is the basic level where you start. So if you want to start, you can go and take that particular training. Okay.
Okay, I think we should get started with the students' presentation. We are already too late. Well, we have very less time for the student presentation.
We also have to bring the flash quiz.
We'll do that later at the end if we are having time, Kishore. I think it's too
Okay.
late. We will, because the students are waiting for a long time now. So get involved. I think, which is the first team?
MC, you can carry on with the inviting.
No, so you have to be very quick. We are running too short of time. We have only 20 minutes and we have 3 teams to present.
Okay. MC, you can invite the first team, Dr. MGR.
Yeah, okay, sir. Now I would like to invite a team from Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute to deliver a presentation on the topic benefits of cloud computing.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I would like to thank IIT Pulse for giving us this wonderful opportunity. We are from Department of Information Technology, Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute. Myself, Dinesh Araikiraj, and this is my teammates. Today we are going to talk about benefits of cloud computing. We all know that there is a lot of benefits in cloud computing, but a few of the important ones have been mentioned here. Cost effective, accessibility, scalability, business continuity, self-service, security, reliability, pay as you go. So we'll see everything detailing in the upcoming slides. First, cost effective. Great potential for cost reduction is one of the main reasons why IT companies have turned to cloud computing. It can help reduce cost on many fronts. For example, if a new person is doing a startup or a business, so they need to store a lot of data. For that, the hard disk or SSD won't be enough. They will be storing a large amount of data. In that case, setting up a physical server for server room, those hardware cost, and it also needs software. So all this cost more. So the only solution for this is cloud computing. So infrastructure with server virtualization, expenses with the purchase and maintenance of physical servers are eliminated. Furthermore, with the change in access to management system, there is also a reduction in software cost. Maintenance. It is not necessary to physically move a team to install and update or check for a possible problem in the system. As I've already said, setting up a server room is not easy for everyone. We need specified technicians to do that. So when it comes to cloud, it is not like that. Everyone can access the cloud easily. So accessibility. As long as you have an internet connection, you can access your data from anywhere. When on the cloud, employees, partners, and clients can access and update information from any location. Those updates with softwares or platform are automatic or in real time. See, imagine if 5 or 6 members working in a team on a particular project, if that is stored in a physical hard drive, all those 5 members must gather in a particular place and they must work. So when it is stored in cloud, they can access from any part of the world and they can work on the same particular project, so that they can complete the project faster, and it will help in better innovations. Having the ability to access information and others so easily and quickly increase functionality and helps foster innovations. Employees have their data at the fingerprints, no matter where they are, either roaming around the stores or working on the roads. The next slide will be explained by Vashni.
Scalability. Cloud scalability in cloud computing refers to the ability to increase or decrease IT resources as needed to meet changing demands. Scalability is one of the hallmarks of the cloud and the primary driver of its exploding popularity with businesses. Data storage capacity, processing power, and networking can all be scaled using existing cloud computing infrastructure. As we already discussed about the server rooms and physical components, under cost effective, here those physical components are owned by a third party. Cloud providers like Google and Amazon have all the infrastructure already in place. In the past, when scaling with on-premises physical infrastructure, the process could take weeks or months and require tremendous expense. Moving on to the business continuity, the cloud is a key part of business continuity for transaction and data-focused companies that can't afford downtime. The cloud offers timely and error-free data recovery for business continuity. The cloud offers a secure and seamless alternative when you cannot access your main offices. Traditional recovery solutions often took hours to transfer data from on-premise tape or flash drives or servers to recovery hardware. The on-premise model could stall an entire company if the main server crashes. So the next slide will be explained by Infanta.
Okay, let's move on to the topic of self-service and cloud computing. Cloud computing provides resources on demand when the consumer wants it. This is made possible by self-service and automation. Self-service means that the consumer performs all the action needed to acquire the service himself instead of going through an IT department. Here, it refers to the service provided by the cloud computing vendors, means that cloud computing service providers like Amazon, Google enable the provision of cloud resources that are needed by the user requirement. IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS were the some of the cloud computing services provided by the cloud computing. These services can be accessed by the user through an online control panel. To make this possible, a cloud provider must obviously have the infrastructure in place to automatically handle consumers' requests. Most likely, this infrastructure will be virtualized so different consumers can use the same pooled hardware. Next, we go onto the topic of security in cloud computing. As all of you know that cloud computing provides various advantages such as improved collaboration, excellent accessibility, mobility, storage capacity, etc. that have been discussed before. But there are also security risks like data loss, vendor locking, account hacking also be in cloud computing. For avoiding this kinds of issue, they introduce cloud computing security. So in cloud computing, security is a collection of security measures designed to protect cloud-based infrastructure, application, and data. These measures ensure user and device authentication, data and resource access control, and data privacy protection. They also support regulatory data compliance. In cloud computing security, the security will be updated frequently in order to protect the data from cyber attacks. A crucial component of cloud security is focused on protecting data and business content such as customer orders, secret design documents, and financial records. And the next slide will be explained by Pritish.
So I'm going to explain about reliability and pay as you go. The cloud make it easy to build fault tolerance into your infrastructure. You can easily add extra resources and allocate them for redundancy. Employing measures that makes your cloud system more reliable ensures that redundant resources kick in automatically. When the system experiences a fault, pay as you go cloud computing is payment method for cloud computing that charges based on usages. The practice is similar to that is similar to of utility bills using only resources that are needed. Thank you for listening patiently. Thank you all.
So these are the benefits of cloud computing. So once again, thank you for all for listening to us patiently.
Thank you for your quick presentation and crisp presentation.
Thank you, Dr. MGR University team for the informative presentation. Now I would like to invite a team from Sona College of Technology to deliver a presentation on a topic cloud compute, applications of cloud computing.
So now keep as crisp as possible, like how Dr. MGR guys did.
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, all. We, the students of Sona College of Technology, here to present the topic on applications of cloud computing. I am V. Srilekha, here to elaborate the applications of cloud computing in manufacturing industries. Cloud-based marketing. Manufacturers use cloud-based applications to aid in planning, executing, and managing marketing campaigns. By using data on production and sales, manufacturers can also track the effectiveness of marketing campaigns. Product development. By merging the product planning and development information into supply chain data and communications, manufacturers can prepare their operations for full production. Production and stock tracking. With enterprise resource planning, that is ERP software, companies can match their production levels to available stock and sales. This software can manage price quotes, order intake, and customer requests. Productivity management. To meet the market's changing needs, manufacturers can use cloud-based application to monitor when to change production. Plus, by allowing communication throughout the supply chain, this software solution ensures producers have the required amount of raw material on hand and can readily change their orders to match their future productivity levels. SaaS solution. Cloud technology has three main forms. As ma'am said, software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. SaaS offers, that is, software as a service, offers internet-based software programs for use by anyone in a company. Among these, SaaS ranks as one of the simplest solutions to quickly integrate into a business. In using centrally based software solution, businesses can enjoy several advantages: limited misinformation or disconnected data. With a single software location, everyone refers to the same information and documents. When using cloud-based ERP, only one main source for company information exists. The prevalence of misinformation reduces because everyone uses the same source for company data. Ease of making changes for the future. Cloud technology scalability and constant updates make planning for the future simple. Using SaaS network avoids issues of outdated software or operating systems on an individual computer. Improve collaboration. By connecting to the same files in the same software, everyone in SaaS network participates in data collaboration. Because they refer a shared document, they all have the most updated information for decision making and planning. Even those located remotely can contribute to operations and collaborate on projects with cloud-based manufacturing software. So these applications will uplift the manufacturing industry with cloud support. Then we move on to the next application.
So good afternoon, Honorable Present here. I am Sri Devi. So far, we have seen about the applications of cloud computing in manufacturing industry. Now, let us move on to the applications of cloud computing in smart grid. Many countries across the world come across deficiency in energy. It impacts the development as well as environment through greenhouse gases. A new grid infrastructure has to be developed for efficient consumption of electricity. Here comes the smart grid technology. Smart grid is an advanced electrical power system with new infrastructure to provide better efficiency, stability, and safety. It is a grid with information and communication technology. Smart grid uses cloud computing technology to handle this information. Why cloud computing technology is used in smart grid? Firstly, storing data in cloud is less expensive compared to storing data in database. Secondly, electrical power system cannot store large amount of data. In production of electrical power, the control should be real-time and reliable. This control can be achieved by cloud computing. Cloud computing handles huge amount of data within a short span of time. So, cloud computing is used in smart grid. What is the role of cloud computing technology in smart grid? Cloud computing helps the power system to recover in blackout condition. Blackout is nothing but the loss of power. Blackout is caused by the imbalance between the power generation and power consumption. This imbalance is caused by the inefficient storage of electricity. As cloud computing handles large amount of data efficiently, there is no such imbalances caused in power system. Secondly, cloud computing enables high reliability evaluation of power system. Cloud computing enables efficient data transfer, storage, retrieval, so that data integrity is easily achieved in cloud computing. In a virtual environment, the service provider used to deliver and allocate the resources to consumer. So, resource scheduling is easily done in cloud computing. In power system, if there is any traffic or issue or any breakage in one transmission line, with the help of smart grid technology, rerouting can be efficiently done. While rerouting, data packets cannot be lost as cloud computing provides efficient resource allocation. So, monitoring and scheduling is efficiently done in power system with the help of cloud computing. So I conclude here by saying that through cloud computing, fair delivery of computation resource is possible. Cloud computing provides a new way to achieve power system online operation analysis and optimal control. Now let us move on to the next application.
Cloud computing in agriculture sounds new, right? Not between the oldest sector and the newest technology. This technology has benefited farmers in a number of ways. Farmers can benefit from real-time calculation, data access, and storage. A big thanks to cloud computing. What crop to cultivate is a big question, and this depends upon the soil information. Apart from soil profile, it can also provide the nature of soil in the past, which will help in predicting the trend in future. For example, is the soil turning alkaline or acidic? Or what are the changes in the nature or the composition of the soil can be seen? The cloud can show region-specific weather information as well as the weather forecast for specific durations. The growth of various crops can be monitored in different regions and at regular intervals. Region-wise farmer data can be captured, monitored, and the study of the involvement of the local farmers. People from rural areas are unable to sell their own produce or produce directly into the market. Many middlemen pop up in between the retail and the production ends, which ultimately leads to the exploitation of the farmers. Through the agricultural management information system of cloud computing, farmers can sell and produce directly to the end of the users or retailers. Now we'll move on to the next application.
So good afternoon, everyone. When we come to the applications of cloud computing in business field, the broadband internet access and the ubiquity of mobile devices make cloud computing a viable option for business everywhere. Cloud computing benefits small business by including accessible data, automatic syncing, remote work facilitation, and easy backups. When it comes to data storage, processing, and collaboration, many businesses choose the flexibility and convenience of cloud computing. So today, So here comes business continuity and collaboration efficiency. Protecting your data and system is an important part of business continuity planning, and therefore, whether you experience a natural disaster, power failure, or other crisis, having your data stored in cloud ensures it is backed up and protected in a secure and a safe location.
So collaboration in cloud computing environment gives your business the ability to communicate and store data more easily. For example, if a team working on a project across different locations, cloud computing help us to give employees, contractors, and third parties access to the same files. So here are some top companies that succeeded with cloud computing. So for eBay, the cloud provider is Google Cloud. It is a multinational e-commerce website that is managing all data and providing secure transactions, and it is possible with cloud technologies. Then comes Netflix. The cloud provider for Netflix is AWS, that is Amazon Web Server. It uses AWS to provide a steady and secure services to over 100 millions of users worldwide. For Twitter ad platform, the cloud provider is Google Cloud, which is also used for PayPal. So PayPal is a convenient service for online payment which provides sheer volume of daily transactions, all while maintaining a top security. So for Pinterest, the cloud provider is AWS. It allowed these services to grow at a staggering rate and handle heavy amount of traffic on a daily basis. So we come to the end that is concluded that cloud computing plays a major role in development of business in today's competitive world.
I would like to conclude by saying that it is very important to know the history of something in order to estimate where it is going to be in future. And we found it very interesting how far we have come in terms of technological advancement in such a short period of time. A big thanks to PALS for giving us such an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sona College of Technology, for your wonderful presentation. I would like to invite a team from Tyagaraja College of Engineering to deliver a presentation on the topic Cloud Impact on Education.
Okay. If you have to have only one session, one login, otherwise you'll have an echo in your audio.
Warm greetings, everyone.
Please,
there is an
please
echo.
mute all your device and
All
mute,
the other
unmute one
devices.
device.
Warm greetings, everyone. A new opportunity arises when there is a need for the user in the market. Cloud has been in use since 2006, but it became the talk of the town in the pandemic 2020. And now it is the most convincing and convenient model for communication. Cloud has given an expanded and explainable introduction to e-learning, like online conferences, virtual classrooms, etc. Cloud computing allows students to access homework wherever there's an internet connection, and it is easier to collaborate with one another. E-tests and exams are a part of selection today, which is only possible because of the trends cloud in education. I have to say this, that university textbooks have always been prohibitively expensive, and sometimes selective learning materials are unavailable. In order to overcome inexpensive learning materials with 24/7 accessibility is the ultimate focus of cloud in education. And my teammates are here to proceed by briefing them.
So coming to the question, why institutions should move to cloud? So most of the solutions are hosted on cloud services. Teachers can work from anywhere, either from their home or from the institution. It is not necessary that the teacher should use the device provided by the institution. They can use any devices. So it is accessible by all the teachers and students. So the cloud technology reduces the cost. That is, it helps the institution to spend less amount on the hardware and on the support system. Coming to the point, time and convenience, the teachers need not waste their time on making book copies. They no longer need to deal with the frustration of misplaced materials and assignments, since cloud holds all the students' assignments. In cloud computing, is very more secured. And there is an example of Wild Rose School Division. Wild Rose School Division in Canada has saved nearly $12,000 by using the cloud computing technology.
Okay, so now after seeing the pros of cloud computing, we'll look into a new model which is emerging right now, education as a service. After COVID-19, we saw a huge surge in the number of users using online education. This model is built upon the existing models into IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. In EaaS teaching, materials are uploaded to the servers which can be accessed by anyone who is affiliated to the institution or has the link. This provides a personalized education to each student as they can select their own path of specialization. And this is comparatively cost effective since the institutes need not spend too much on infrastructures, and even the students would feel like a burden off their shoulders since the fee cost would be less. This would be applicable to the general public. Looking on to the challenges in implementing EaaS in an institute, one major challenge is that analytics and managing big data require up-to-date softwares and infrastructures. Also, lecturers and students who use such models should have a basic idea and educational understanding about the model. So how EaaS is actually better than traditional degree program? In EaaS, we can see that there is no restriction about how many courses a student can take and about how long a student can actually learn those courses. If done right, a student can be a customer for life and keep on learning new models and competencies as the workforce demands it. And now geographical location is no longer a concern since I can take up any course from any professor across the globe. We have MOOC courses are actually adopted by our college. It is interdisciplinary, which can be taken by any student. And there are online assignments and tests, which are actually graded, and we also get credit for these courses.
Knowing about the new concept of education as a service, let's see what are the prerequisites to learn about cloud computing as a service. Cloud computing is a field where we must learn about many technologies. One must be familiar with programming languages such as Java, PHP, Python, and Net, and must be familiar with databases like SQL, MongoDB, etc. And one must also know about the basics of security and privacy like cryptography and encryption. And they also must be familiar with and they must also know the basic of visualization. And the job opportunities for cloud computing are cloud engineering, full stack cloud developer, where one must know both the front end and back end technology, and so on. And now talking about the Camo app that we use in TCE, it is a SaaS based app, and it is a multi-tenant. It is hosted on the most secure cloud platform at Amazon Web Service. And it uses the NoSQL database, which is used to scale virtually unlimited user loads. And it is an open architecture, which is a technology infrastructure with specifications that are public. And Camo is a best learning management system.
So in the previous slide, we saw that Camo that is used in our college is considered as the best learning management system. So what is this learning management system? It is nothing but the teacher and of the student's progress. Generally, this is cloud-based LMS hosted on the internet, accessed by logging in into a page. So it is considered as a best LMS. So what are the reasons for that? Let us see that. So why this Camo is considered as a best LMS? Because it can create online courses very easily and quickly. It has customizable options that allows the user to avail different settings. Like the Camo app that we are using, in that we have the students can view the attendance percentage, the class timetable, and their exam progress and assignment submission, and so on. There are so many options available, and it is an effective collaboration and rebus system. The administrative groups it can be created in Camo. Like it is like how we create WhatsApp groups, like that. Administrative groups can also be created, and in that group, the students can post the questions and the teachers can answer for that. So it is considered as a best virtual classroom.
The global pandemic has created different opportunities. One among them is cloud in education. In summing up, cloud is really essential for the virtual world, saying it is flexible, feasible, and reliable. CAMU in TCE aims to provide paper-free work to students and motivates them to gear up with the advancements in cloud computing. We are now moving from SAS to EAAS that focuses more on practicality as briefed by my teammate Rishikesh. Eventually, enhanced future technologies in cloud should be welcomed and appreciated.
So the last topic of this presentation is the current research work that we are interested in. Currently, we are looking into the research topic 1 to enhance it using EAAS. While referring to this paper, the purpose of this study is to find models in the learning process in accordance with the character and advantages of technology with the role of government to operate, as well as the relationship between the schools, government, and the society. So this is the learning process business model that is shown in this PPT, and we are very much interested to do a research in this field. I would just like to add a point that I would like to ask the jury to add few more points on this current research that we are interested in. So with this, I would like to conclude the PPT, and I thank the PulseTech for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyagarajar College of Engineering, for your presentation. I thank all the presenters who done a great job during their presentation. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Mohan, PALS Chairman, to deliver a vote of thanks.
PVM, can I just say a few words? Ms. Sabia, do you have any words for the student presentation? Any thoughts and any views on that?
Thank you. Yeah, they have done a really good job packing so much information in those 10 minutes, and the presentations were really up to the topic. I think all the presentations were very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sujata, I would like to intervene.
Yes.
Ms. Sabia took the trouble of joining our briefing session 2 days ago.
Oh, that's very nice.
So that's something that I wanted people to know. No time for Slido, is it?
No, we can. That's what I mean. I don't know why we were immediately PVM was called for vote of thanks. I was just thinking, can we take 5 minutes to do the Slido? PVM, are you okay with that?
Perfect. No problem, Sujata. Go ahead.
Yeah. So paste the link, Kishore, and let's have that Slido quiz. So
Okay,
the Slido quiz is a very interesting one. We have 400 participants. 100 of them are missing it now. So what you guys need to do is click on this link and register for the quiz, taking this quiz. Very brief quiz, 5 minutes. It's more like that Kaun Banega Crorepati model. Fastest finger first. So it's a timed quiz. So please make sure that you register and be ready to see the questions on the screen. As soon as you see the question, there are options. You'll have to choose one of the right option and then, submit it. And you'll possibly be given 15 seconds or 20 seconds. I'm not sure what is the setting.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. So is this pasted on the live chat also?
I request Manikandan to confirm.
Yes, madam.
Is it pasted? Okay, I suppose that yes is for after it's pasted.
Yeah. Quickly join.
So 41 of you have joined, which means the link is working. So there is no reason why others may find it difficult to join. You just have to click on the link, give your name, and then register to participate in the quiz. And the questions are all going to be from the session, what you heard. So every session you listen, if you don't have some kind of reverse questions thrown back to you, it is not interesting, right? We have another beautiful quiz given by Ms. Sabia. She has given us quite a lot of questions. We have some core engineering questions. Those links will be coming to you shortly. So wait for those links in the chat box. Attend the feedback link, attend the quiz, and then you can, you can call it a day for the session. Wait for 250. Hold on, 300 we'll start for sure. Kishore.
Yes, ma'am. I think people are now only getting understand. Can we start, madam, or we can wait 1 more minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm starting the quiz.
Yeah, so we are starting the quiz. For all those of you registered, please watch your screen. Watch that browser. Don't watch the Zoom link. Go to the browser and attempt the quiz. So there is a question and 4 options. %59 have got. No, that was 29, is it?
Yes. Final question. Total 590 plus members have participated in this quiz.
Sanjay, Kamaleshwar, Shobana. Very good. So one question, all of you have got it wrong, and that is probably the other one.
Okay.
Thank you, Kishore.
Thank you.
PVM, you can come in for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sujata. So, having respected faculty from the 2 sponsoring colleges today, that is Dr. MGR and Sona Engineering College, as well as all the faculty, students, past members, who have attended. Indeed, it's really been a wonderful session today. At the outset, I'd like to say about we thank IBM for becoming a key industry partner for PALS. And a lot of exciting things are coming up in collaboration with IBM. And I'm sure that in course of time, there'll be an awareness session with regard to all the various activities which PALS will do along with IBM as a collaboration partner. But coming to the session today, I think sincere thanks to Madam Sabia. She's really been meticulous in terms of preparation and delivery of the event today. Of course, we are looking at the fact that this session would have been attended, I presume, by a diverse student community, in the sense that students belonging to different fields of engineering. And it's been very important to get all the students to understand the concepts of cloud computing. Instead of students getting an idea that it's only IT based and it's only for the IT students, with emerging technologies influencing all areas of engineering, it has become very important for students from all fields of engineering to get involved and interested in such new and emerging technologies. And Dr. Sabia has done full justice by keeping the presentation very simple and something which could be understood by everybody. Like, I must admit that even myself, I'm not an IT person, I'm a core engineering person. And I did not know much about cloud engineering, cloud computing. But at the end of the session, I think I almost got all the Slido questions right, which means the session has been successful. So we must give kudos to Sabia's meticulous efforts in having a pre-session with the student teams. And that has really shown today, because all the three student teams, Dr. MGR, Sona, as well as TCE, have put up some wonderful presentations. I like the way they made it so crisp and caught up with time. Like each presentation, they could complete in about 5 to 7 minutes almost. And even the quality of the PPT slides was so nice and well presented. But out of the three, I must put in an extra word for TCE, particularly because TCE almost made it like a case study. Like they presented the EAAS system, which is actually being implemented at TCE. So they educated all of us by giving us an idea about the system which is actually being implemented. So it was a bit more practical compared to the other two, which were very good, of course, but it was made more out of theoretical material. But we appreciate the practicality of what TCE has presented. We thank the dignitaries from both the colleges, Dr. Cyril Raj, Registrar of Dr. MGR, and Dr. Akhilandeshwari, Dean Academic from Sona Engineering College, who spoke about the relevance of cloud computing and how it is important to all the students to be involved and understand cloud computing. And in fact, students who would like to go more into detail would have got a clue out of the session, and they can always go into details by looking up more research and more books and more lectures and so on, so that they can become very proficient at cloud computing. But even otherwise, I think for the general body of students from all fields of engineering, a broad understanding of cloud computing has certainly come about through this lecture. Now, this really is the key underlying concept of PALS for organizing these emerging technology lectures, because I think with the growing relevance of emerging technologies, most of the colleges have also started introducing many courses in their syllabus over the last few years. So we actually want to complement these courses through these lectures, so that these lectures would present the latest developments in the particular technologies, because these technologies are growing quantum fold year after year. So keeping in touch with the technology is also very important, along with the theory we study. So these lectures are complementing that. And I'm sure that these emerging technology lectures are very interesting to all the colleges, which can actually be seen by almost 600 and odd students who have attended the session today. That's really a huge number. And I can see that compared to previous years, the participation of audience has been much higher. And this can also be seen by the number of questions which have been asked, very interesting questions, which our speaker has tried to answer to the best of her ability. So finally, thank you very much to the PALS team. Ramaswamy has been instrumental in organizing this event by talking to all the concerned stakeholders. Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much, PMO, Sujata, and Kishore for running the technical part of the show, and Sujata also for coordinating. And of course, I should not miss out the two student representatives who presented the whole show. That is Mohana Priya from Sona Engineering College and Amrita from Dr. MGR. Well done, students. So that's about it. I think I have thanked everybody and talked about the relevance of this program. So back to Ram.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Pavian. And I think, yeah, so thank you for the session. I think I leave it to Sujata to announce to the students.
Yeah, thank you all. So before we forget, Mani, thanks to Mani also, PVM. Mani has been a strong
I missed.
supporter.
Thank you, Mani. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
for
Mani
being
has also been a great support.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Sabia, and participants. We have the feedback link, the quiz link pasted both in the Zoom chat and the live chat of YouTube. You know, I know that we have, gone past our deadline of by 20 minutes this time, but I think it was worth it. We didn't want to miss any segments here. I know you're all hurrying for your college bus. So we will share this both feedback link and the attendance link to you over mail as well. For all the participants who have marked your attendance, you will get an email to the mail ID that you have registered with us. Please make sure that you give your feedback on the session, because the feedback is not just, letting us know how the session went. It is also a reiteration and affirmation for you on the key takeaways. What have you learned from this session and all that? So make sure that you give your feedback. Secondly, take the quiz in a very fair attempt. There is exciting prizes meant for the quiz. And only if you have registered, attended, given your feedback and taken the quiz, you will be eligible for an attendance certificate. So the certificate will be mailed to your college. Please check with your HOD and he or she will be able to guide you on that. Thank you all. Have a great evening. And we'll see you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Dr. Sabia. It's been a pleasure meeting you. Thank you.